Women's Land Rights in Africa, Scorecard 2019. Women are at risk of violence, abuse, and exploitation in the process of claiming their right to own, access, and control land. Women's land rights have strongly featured in core agendas of the African Union, United Nations organizations, governments, and non-state actors. To date, virtually all African states have signed policy resolutions to ensure more equal and less discriminatory land rights for women. The African Union has embraced this aspiration and laid it down in frameworks, guidelines, and other legally binding documents such as the African Union Framework and Guidelines on Land Policy in Africa, African Union Guiding Principles on Large-Scale Land-Based Investments, Voluntary Guidelines on the Responsible Governance of Tenure of Land, Fisheries, and Forests in the Context of National Food Security, and Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Land Rights of Women in Africa. The consortia of civil society organizations comprising of Oxfam, Plateforme Régionale des Organisations Paysannes d'Afrique Centrale, and the Institute for Poverty, Land and African Studies, in partnership with International Land Coalition, is implementing a joint initiative to support civil society organizations to contribute to a better enforcement of women's land rights across the African continent through a program dubbed Women Land Rights for Inclusive Development and Growth in Africa. The Scorecard. This is a quantifiable tool to measure and monitor the performance of countries in implementing the provisions of selected African women's land rights instruments. This scorecard is for measuring how committed governments are to women land rights in each country, comparing how women are confronting their governments about land rights, learning how women are tackling their land rights issues, sharing lessons emerging from efforts by women to tackle their land rights issues. How to use this scorecard? We look at 7 countries: Cameroon, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, Togo. In the scorecard, we ask these 5 questions. Theme 1. Is provision made in the law to guarantee equal land rights for women? Theme 2. Are women legislated land rights protected and enforced? Theme 3. Are women able to assert control over the land they use? Theme 4. Are women making decisions about land governance? Theme 5. Are women's land rights protected against large-scale land-based investments? And we answer each question like this: yes, partly, no. The same graphics have been used to indicate the overall situation on women's land rights in each country. Smaller simplified faces and colors, green, yellow, and red, are used to answer questions in the same way. How the scores happen. Each country is scored according to 5 themes. Each theme has a number of sub-themes. A different number of sub-themes per theme. Each sub-theme is given a score. The sub-theme scores are added together to get a theme score. The 5 theme scores are added together to get a country score. Women land rights by country: Cameroon, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, Togo. It appears that most countries have made progress in developing laws that support women's land rights, but much work is needed to implement these laws so that women can benefit from them. Overview of women's land rights in Africa: Ethiopia, Kenya, Mozambique, Malawi, South Africa, Cameroon, Togo. Look at the map of Africa and note the countries involved. Can you see how much red is on the map? There is a lot of work to be done. Conclusions. Implementation of women's land rights is yet to receive sufficient political backing due to widespread patriarchal values. Women's land and property rights could greatly be improved if all African Union member countries implemented the existing commitments. These findings are corroborated by ongoing claims, not only among government bureaucrats, but more importantly by policymakers. African states and governments need to continue to commit towards equal societies where men and women equitably access land, use, and control it. Active citizenry will increase their participation in governance issues, particularly women participation. Finally, there is the need for full implementation of the African Union guiding principles that promote women's land rights in Africa. The Women's Land Rights Project in Africa is implemented by Oxfam Pan-African Programme, Plateforme Régionale des Organisations Paysannes d'Afrique Centrale, and the Institute for Poverty, Land and Agrarian Studies, in partnership with the International Land Coalition, funded by the European Union.